called a balalaika. Its root word, balalaiket, in Russian means to chatter. I've come today to talk to Bibs Ekkel. He's acclaimed to be the best non-Russian balalaikist in the world.
How long have I been playing the balalaika? Many years. Since I was 18, so therefore that's 50 years. Oh God, am I that old? Yeah, 50 years.
So tell me a bit about the history of you and the balalaika.
I joined a group of amateur dancers called the Balalaika dance group, and I wanted to learn how to do the Cossack dance. One day, I think it was on my third visit to the group, I heard a lovely sound coming down the corridor. I'd never heard a sound like that before, and I went into one of the classrooms there, and there were these three chaps playing balalaikas. It was a lovely sound. I fell in love with it straight away. A few days later, I was with a Russian emigre friend of mine at his house, and there was a balalaika hanging on the wall. I said, "Ooh, that's a balalaika, isn't it?" And my friend said, "Oh yes, do you want to try it?" So he handed it to me, I tried it, and he says, "Oh, you can keep it." Oh, I said, "Thank you very much." Well, I progressed from there. I practiced on the balalaika, and I got to be pretty good. The Red Army came to visit London. They were performing at the Albert Hall, and a Russian friend of mine took me backstage to meet some of the artists. And just for fun, I saw the balalaika player, the soloist. I showed him what I could do, and he was horrified. He said, "No, you don't play with the plectrum," and he showed me how to use my finger. 2 years later, the Red Army were back in town, again at the Albert Hall. Again, I went backstage and saw Ignatieff, and then that's when I had my second lesson. He highly approved of the progress I had made and showed me how to pluck with thumb and index finger on one string. And those were the only lessons I ever had.
And on the balalaika, you don't play with a pick. No, to make it really hard, you play just with your index finger, strumming all the strings at once. Of course, you are wondering, does it hurt? Yes, it hurts, but the Russians have special remedy for this. It's called vodka.
So what was the next stage of your life?
I went to study in Poland at Warsaw University. I took, of course, my balalaika with me, and with all the practice that I was doing, after 3 years of studying in Poland, I was pretty good. I came to England and began playing with a guitarist that I found called John Langdon, known as Jopnik, a good friend. Anyway, that was 1970. We played in restaurants, we started playing in concerts, and very soon we got very popular and began to get bookings on TV and radio. It was at this point that I realized that in order to bring the balalaika to a greater number of people, it was necessary, or it would be certainly a good idea, if I could create an ensemble. I created, in 1974, I started a group called Cyganka, which means Gypsy Girl. A few years later, we were doing 2 tours a year of North America. In 1972, I got offered a job. It was my opportunity to see Russia from one end to the other. Leningrad, Moscow, Odessa, Samarkand, Tashkent, and even Siberia, the town of Irkutsk, which is next to Lake Baikal. That was my dream. There's lots you can do on the balalaika. It's a very expressive instrument. You can play on one string. You You can pluck on one string and alternately pluck the other strings. Everywhere I went, I'd taken some rubles with me, very illegal, and I went around buying good instruments when I got an opportunity, good balalaikas. What I would do was, if I had a friendly tourist, I would get the rather nice balalaika wrapped up in tourist paper, tourist shop paper, so it looked like a cheap souvenir instrument. And I would ask them, would you mind taking this back to London with you and go along to the Borscht & Tears restaurant, where you'll find a musician playing there called Shopnik. Tell him you've got this balalaika from Bibs, and he'll be so pleased to see you, he'll buy you a drink. That's why I've ended up with quite a lot of balalaikas, good ones.
Are those all your balalaikas?
Well, not all of them. There are more upstairs and in other rooms all around the place, but these are the best ones. Balalaika House, Shepperton.
So, what kind of places have you played at?
I've performed at the Royal Albert Hall, Queen Elizabeth Hall. You name the hall, we've probably played there.
I've never been to the last night of the proms, and this is for atmosphere. This is actually the bull ring.
Can you give any examples of the films and soundtracks that you've played in?
I've played on soundtracks like Snatch. The Man Who Knew Too Little.
Good God.
Enemy at the Gates.
So you haven't been signed with a record label. Why?
I'm a free spirit. I've made so many sacrifices for my music that it would be, I would be a traitor if I were to just cross it all off. So I'm not signed with anybody, I'm not tied to anybody, I don't have to do anything I don't want to.
What advice would you give to people that wish to learn the balalaika?
Trim your fingernails, especially this one, which you need to strum with. Then you need a good instrument, and instruments unfortunately are not so easy to find. They next need an instruction book in the absence of an instructor. Now of course there are a few books around, but the best one I have to tell you is this one. It's a really big book, everything is here, and oh look, it was written by me. In true Russian tradition, there should always be a bottle of vodka not far away. One for you. Na zdrowie.
Na zdrowie.
Na zdrowie, everybody.
Na zdrowie.
Yum, yum, yum.
Oh.
Well, of course, we're supposed to eat a little zakuska, as they say. A little something afterwards. Very important. However, if Russians don't have anything to bite after they've drunk, what you do is you use your armpit.